Well, you gotta be flipping my flapjacks. Today we talk about a stock we have not talked about in quite some time. It is The Planet. Now, this is a company I've held for many years, and I've gotten a ridiculous amount of requests to talk about this stock over the past few trading days, essentially. A lot of comments, a lot of people wanted me to talk about this. Why does everybody want me to talk about this? Well, the stock price has gone up 54% so far this year. We're 2 weeks into the trading year, right? And the stock has already climbed 54%. It's going absolute beast mode. So a lot of people wanting my opinion on the company. And so I said, let's do a full dedicated video because a lot of people are trying to figure out, is this the buying opportunity of the century in the stock? Is it higher highs from here or is it lower lows, right? And this company over the past number of years has been through some pretty traumatic times and some pretty great times, right? And its stock price was in pretty darn bad place in different time periods, and it's climbed to some ridiculous levels in time periods in the past. And I've been somebody that's been a shareholder of this company for several years, so I've been part of the whole process of the ups and the downs and the lower lows and the higher highs and those sorts of things. So I want to share my perspective as somebody that's an investor in this company and as somebody that has been through the whole process of the ups and the downs and everything in between with this company. And do I expect the stock to just go up from here? Do I expect another leg lower? I'll discuss all that in this video. It's going to be an action-packed planned video. I appreciate everybody joining me, and I try to always put out content that you guys are interested in. I know there's a lot of people that are definitely very interested in this. If you're somebody that enjoys the channel and you want to support the channel, consider doing so with the pinned comment down there. Just started a Patreon, made it affordable for everybody. It's $10 if you want to join there, essentially. And a lot of people are joining, so I'm definitely happy to see everybody enjoying that. Basically, every single week on every Friday, I'm going to buy $150 worth of stocks in there in the portfolio. That's a Patreon portfolio. In that portfolio, I just did my first buys ever this past week, and oh my gosh, this portfolio is off to like the greatest start ever. Okay, I'm not going to get too excited, but holy smokers, this ain't no joke. This portfolio is going on absolute beast mode so far, and I got the money deposited, ready for the new buys on Friday. What stocks will I buy? One of them is going to be, I would say, pretty shocking to some folks, and something I'm going to buy in there on Friday nonetheless. And also I want to give a shout out. I don't know if it was Brian C. or Fanny G. who was the 100th Patreon. I wanted to show whoever it was. I'm not sure. It was one of you two. But I appreciate everybody for supporting the channel on Patreon, and glad you guys are enjoying kind of seeing the account build out over time. Okay. Now, if anybody's watching this who doesn't understand the plan, and I think most people that watch this video right now, especially people that have followed me for many, many years, you're going to know this company, Planet. This is a company that sells Jack Jackson, okay? If you don't know Jack Jackson, man, we got a lot to teach you around here, okay? But nonetheless, they're a Jack Jackson company, and they have this massive store in Las Vegas. This was their first main flagship store. This store does pretty crazy volume. It's a little off the Las Vegas Strip. If you know where Fashion Show Mall is, it's right behind Fashion Show Mall. If you know where the Wynn and Encore is, it's probably about a 7 to 10 minute walk from the Wynn and Encore, essentially, about a 2-minute drive from the Wynn and Encore, maybe a minute and a half nonetheless. So it's just off the Las Vegas Strip, and insanely popular store nonetheless, okay? And this is like, I call it like the Disneyland of MJ, essentially. It's absolutely incredible. And now they have a restaurant in it. They have a lounge they're building. I'm going to show you basically secret photos of the lounge area that I do have here and I have acquired. So, those haven't really been seen out there other than maybe my private stock group. So I will show you guys those in this video as well. They also have another massive store in Orange County. This one opened, oh gosh, probably a little less than 2 years ago, the Orange County store roughly. And this is an epic store as well. It's not as epic as the Las Vegas store, but then again, nothing could be as epic as a Las Vegas store in this space, essentially. And so the Orange County store started out very slow, but it seems to be starting to really build business. They're really having to build around a local clientele there and doing more, I guess you can say, pricing promotions and things like that to get people through the door and then acquire folks and keep them for long-term customers of that particular store. They also have a wholesale business. They bought Next Green Wave a little while back here, spent a lot of money on that, so their wholesale businesses should build out very nicely over time. They have basically a new store that should be coming in Illinois, and also they have a huge opportunity in Florida with kind of a massive operation in Florida over time. So what the Planet really wants to become is they don't just want to become like, if they just wanted to stop at one superstore, that's where they would have stopped. They want to become like the destination for this product, and they also want to have a massive wholesale business and do it the right way. Whereas a lot of folks have gotten way too debt-ridden with their companies and just very unfocused focused in their business models, and Bob and Larry look like they're positioning the company so this massive industry, as it gets more and more legalized and you eventually get federal legalization, right? They're in one of the best positions, if not the best position of honestly any company out there to take advantage of that insane opportunity. We know how big this industry is, right? It's just always been an industry that's been, behind the scenes. And over the past 5 years or so, it's started to come to the legalization trend, and Planet's obviously going to benefit from that. Now, to take you through a little history lesson, right? The stock, pull up a 5-year of the stock, and you're going to see basically everything that's played out here. So their flagship store opened right around here. I believe it was November of 2018. Their flagship store opens, right? Then Rona happens. Now, when Rona happened, there was about a 50% chance, in my opinion, this company went bankrupt. And the reason being is they only had, back then, I think it was maybe $2 or $3 million of cash on the balance sheet, and they only had their one flagship store. They didn't have curbside delivery. They didn't have delivery in general. They didn't have multiple stores in different markets. They didn't have a wholesale business. They didn't have any of that at that time. So the plan that you see in front of you today is a very different company than what was going on in March of 2020. They had this one store that people actually physically came in, and next thing you know, the store had to be closed. And so there was a big thought process that this company could go bankrupt. But Bob and Larry saved the company. They started doing basically curbside pickup. They started doing delivery of their product. And eventually Vegas did open back up for the physical stores. That was probably a month or two later. And Bob and Larry saved the company. They didn't go under. They were able to raise some capital after that. And next thing you know, we went through an insane growth period with the company. Just ridiculous revenue growth. Profits start to pour in. Like, it was just incredible. And this was right after a time period where everybody thought the company was going under, right? Plus, you add on top of that a time period when it was like the most risk-on market we've seen since the tech bubble, right? And so anything growth-related, which Planet was obviously growth-related, people piled into that, right? And that's just, Planet's just one of a long list of stocks that just saw their stock prices go absolutely to the moon, to say the least, right? Then what happens after that? Oh man, it got ugly. So first part is disappointing numbers from the company. Second part is retail got absolutely wrecked. Okay, and that was just in every pretty much stock in the stock market, especially anything that was growth related, right? And Planet was just another stock of a long list of stocks that went down between 60 and 90%, right? And so you add on disappointing numbers with a retail wreck, and that's how you get this stock to go absolutely through the floor. And it started in 2021 and it ended at the end of 2022. Absolutely disgusting. It was nasty. And nonetheless, here we are recently, and I'll show you why the stock has started to go up recently, but it looks like it's starting to form a new trend here, okay? So what happened here recently? Well, the first trading day of the year was January 3rd. And so the Planet 13 CEOs, Bob and Larry, they put out a message to shareholders, a message that was probably the most needed message out there. What did this message say? Bob Groesbeck and Larry Scheffler shared, quote, 2022 was a difficult year for the Jack Jackson investors, right? And as CEOs and holders of 78 million shares of Planet 13 combined, by the way, personally, I own about 32,000 shares of Planet in the public account, of over 78 million shares of Planet 13 combined with a certainly emphasis with shareholders, right? They emphasize, they own a ton of the stock, obviously. 2022 was the worst year for the market since 2008, and our industry was not spared. Prices were down across the board for Jack Jackson stocks, with the biggest driver, as we saw in December, the failure of reform at the federal level, right? Which the hope is that eventually the product is federally legalized, but it just seems like it's like, oh, maybe we'll get something to happen, and it doesn't happen, right? And I can tell you, if you had all the people in the United States of America vote, legalize this product or have it be illegal, I 100% would bet every dollar I have, every penny of my net worth, that they would essentially legalize this product. There's way more than 50% of the people out there that would legalize the product. I can guarantee you that. But unfortunately, that's not the way it works in the United States of America. And, it gets into politics, and it's unfortunate, but that is the system we live in. It's not a true system where the majority gets the decisions. It's the minority of politicians decide what happens. And it's unfortunate, but it is part of the process, right? At Planet 13, at some point in time, the product will get federally legalized. I can tell you that. My thought process has always been when the economy starts to get hit in more of a major way and the government starts to realize, oh crap, we need to do something here. We need to create jobs. I feel like there hasn't been a big emphasis on this because this industry could create hundreds of thousands, if not millions of jobs around the United States of America. But unemployment's been so low, they feel like the government's kind of been like, we don't necessarily need that sector. Believe me, as soon as real jobs start being lost, which we're starting to see in a major way, right? That's when the government starts to look around and be like, okay, where can we generate revenue? Where can we create jobs, right? That's what happens. At Planet 13, we can only control what we can control. And so that is what we are focused on. We've maintained an 8 to 10% market share in Nevada while cutting costs to maintain margins. We are growing revenue in California. We've made progress on our growth initiatives in Florida and Illinois, setting up the stage for us to have operations in 4 states by the end of 2023. And we continue to have one of the strongest balance sheets and cleanest capital structures in the Jack Jackson industry. There is a saying, revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is king. I love that, okay? I love that. We have always managed our business and aligned this even when everyone else focused on rapid growth. We encourage investors to think in this context, and when comparing Planet 13 to other Jack Jackson companies, please remember the following. As of last quarter, September 30th, 2022, we had positive operating cash flow. We had $50 million in cash. This is a small cap company, so, like super small cap. So $50 million cash is a lot of money. That's insane. That's insane. We had 0 debt, and we are up to date on all tax payments. Very important. We are well positioned to weather the current downturn in the markets and will be one of the winners in this industry long term. We would like to thank our shareholders and encourage anyone who would like to have a call with investor relations, things like that, okay? And so I think there's very important points they bring out there because I can tell you most companies in this industry are not in this position. I can tell you that much, okay? And most companies in this industry have had to try to discount product, destroy their margins, and destroy their balance sheet even more just to try to stay alive, essentially, over the past 18 months. And some have gone under. There's going to be a lot more that go under by the end of this year, essentially, because they're just not in that position, right? So something I always like to think about, right, is what do I get with a company? So with the Planet, it's a $200 million market cap roughly, okay? So what am I getting? I'm getting a 9-figure revenue business. I'm getting a business that has not just retail stores, but also a wholesale business. I'm getting a company that's set up to be a giant in a massive industry, like insanely massive industry, right? And competition is being ruined right now because most of those companies didn't have the best business models going in, and on top of that, their balance sheets are a mess and they're destroying their margins, right? And so the bigs will get bigger in this situation. Planet's set up very, very well to do just that, okay? And so I look at that and I'm like, that's pretty darn attractive for kind of what I'm getting here, okay? Now here's a few photos from the private stock group that I want to show you. By the way, if you're looking to apply to join my private stock group and my private wealth group, check out the description area. There's an application down there if you're looking to join us in there, okay? And thanks, Brenton, for posting this. I appreciate this. This is from the Orange County store as of, I think it's just about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. And, the store just seems to be building out business better and better and more of a local clientele there in Orange County that is, like a reoccurring buyer, essentially. And so I'm very pleased to see that. And, the store is beautiful and all those sorts of things, right? Incredible experience, best customer service you can imagine. But they've obviously gotten, it's like you got to get people through the door, right? And it's kind of like loss leader type stuff. And once you get people through the door, then you have an opportunity to hopefully sell, folks some other products and make them into long-term customers of the Planet. So I definitely like the way they're starting to build out that store. It didn't start out with a bang. It started out very disappointing, but they've been scaling it. And we've watched with the Vegas location. The Vegas location also started out very slow, and they were able to build that business over time, essentially, okay? Now, this is from the new lounge they're going to have in the Vegas location, which is very exciting, a consumption lounge. Because if you didn't know, essentially you can't use the product on the Las Vegas Strip. You have to be on private property to use the product. And so these consumption lounges are going to be awesome because somebody can go buy the product at the Planet, obviously, and then consume the product right inside their lounge, which is pretty awesome. Thanks, Gio, for those photos. Obviously, they've still got work to do. They're working on it in there, but this is cool to see those construction. I believe he took those photos through a window or something like that. So I appreciate that. I'm not in Vegas at the moment. I'm at the Arizona house, but when I get back to Vegas, I'm going to try to see what's going on there as well, okay? Now, let's talk about the stock price. Let's talk about if there's lower lows coming or it's up from here, okay? So first thing I think is worth mentioning is look at how low the volume is. You know, all the people that wanted to sell larger amounts of Planet shares already did it in 2022 and 2021. Those people are long gone now at this point in time. And there's very much a lack of selling pressure on the stock now at this point in time. I mean, this is about an hour or two before the trading day ended. Only 123,000 shares traded. That's like, what, $100,000 worth of shares? That's literally nothing. Literally nothing. Absolutely incredible, right? How low amount of shares are even trading out there. So in my personal opinion, it's up from here for this company. It doesn't mean every day, every week, or every month is going to be up from here. But I believe this company has hit the lowest lows it will hit. And the reason I believe that is I believe their business will start to uptrend as kind of 2023 goes along. I also believe that the major sellers are gone from the stock, and I believe there will continue to be buying pressure that comes in the stock as the numbers get better and better over this next year, and the company just kind of stabilizes their business and gets into a better position, essentially, okay? And so that's kind of what I see as far as all that goes in regards to the Planet. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, I appreciate everybody joining me, and if you appreciate the content, you love the channel, and you want to support on Patreon, check out the pinned comment down there, and you'll get to see the stocks I buy on Friday as well. Much love, and have a great day.